Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday to all across the Delaware Valley. Inside a week from Christmas. Hope everybody's doing well. This is the Anthony Gargano Show. We're brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for the pharmacy nearest you. So I want to talk about what's happening with the Birds, right? And this whole run. And can I tell you, like, this is the gift that the Eagles have given us, right? Like, we love football. We love the Eagles. We love sports. You know, that's who we are. And so when you get something like this, it's great just to dive into it. And there are moments like ESPN came out with a simulation. And, you know, it's like they go, their models and the AI, and whether it's Grok or whatever the hell they do. And they had the Eagles losing the next 2 weeks, which is, I don't think so, but we'll get into that in a minute. And, you know, I look at it, all this nonsense, and I just throw it out, right? And my overarching point is this is a gift. Like, you know, stressful times, all right? It just is. I mean, it's life. Things are stressful. You got own issue. Everybody's got their own issues. You get the holidays coming up. You know, there's so much going on. And it's just a gift to be able to lose all of your woes and go into an Eagles run. And that's what they provide us, right? Like, that's the by and large, and this is why I love sports, right? And this is why, like, you could lose yourself in the games. There was a story years ago. I brought it up probably when it first happened. I was on WIP. It was years ago. I was working with Glenn McNeil. There was a story in GQ magazine. And the guy had awful depression, horrible, debilitating depression. He wrote this piece, the writer, and he's talking about his own dark places. And he said the only thing that helped him, the only thing that made him feel better was losing himself on, I think it was Big Tuesday or Super Tuesday. There were college basketball games, and Brent Musburger was doing it. It was like Big 10 or Big 12 or whatever it was. And he's like, it got me out of my depression, just losing myself in sports. And I think that's kind of what the Eagles and all the sports for us, but what they do for us. They allow us an escape from life. And whatever the issues are, you know, most good or bad in that sense, right? Where it gives you an outlet. It gives you a thing to do. And I look at this Eagles team, and I got to tell you, I'm grateful for them. I think we talked about it yesterday about where they rank as far as which teams. Like, I asked the question yesterday, is this the best Eagles team that we've ever seen, right? Like, you have the 04, you have 17 that won the Super Bowl, you have the 04, right? You know, 02, you got the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, all that stuff. What's fascinating is that they're so good this year. Like, this team, and they're young, and it's great to just go, you know what? the bleakness of January and February is a great time to just dive into the Birds. And I'm grateful for them. They're really good. They're a story, and there's something that we could just cleave onto. And they're not going anywhere, even after this year, no matter what happens. They're set up. Howie's done a brilliant job in setting this team up for success, in the near future. And so I kind of want to take today and just do a little thankful. Like I have a lot of gratitude toward them because I think they help us. I think they help our mental state. I think and it's partly because we care so much, but they've given us something to lose ourselves in. I look at Sunday and I go, and maybe because I think they're really that good, I have no worry. I have no worry. And even if they somehow lose Sunday to Washington, I think they're just a really good team that is going to be in the NFC Championship game, and we'll see what happens, where the game is, what the matchup is, what the state of those teams are health-wise. But they're really, really good. I think all the talk about, Jalen, the offense, Jalen, AJ, this and that, all that stuff, it just doesn't really matter. They're really, really good. And that's the biggest point to all this, is that we have something to just follow over the next 6 weeks and enjoy. Good morning, my man, VG. Violations, Greg.
Good morning.
You know what I mean? I read this piece, and you'll appreciate this, in GQ years ago. And the guy talked about how Brent Musburger's voice in college basketball was his happy place.
Well, I get, just as soon as you say Brett Musburger's voice, like I just get a warm feeling in my body. It's like, I just want to close my eyes and hear him back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I read the piece and I was like, wow. And I think the Eagles provide that for us.
I never pegged you as a Gentleman's Quarterly reader. Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Did you?
Oh, Esquire, GQ.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Right.
Some of the best well-written pieces were in those magazines.
My dad used to say that about Playboy, too. It's interesting. Weird. I never got into any of them. Happy Place?
Yeah.
I
Do they
mean,
provide you the happy place?
the Birds right now, I mean, I'm loving what they're doing. I mean, nothing for me as far as the landscape of sports provides a happy place like Citizens Bank Park in the summer for me. That's my happy place.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go down whatever. I don't care who they're playing, who's pitching. Yeah.
So do the Eagles provide anything like that?
Yeah, I like. It's different though because it's more. Watching the game isn't the same. I enjoy it and I like it, but like I watch Eagles games alone on my couch, and I try and focus on the game more. It's more intense.
Yeah.
And that intensity, I'm a laid back kind of guy. That intensity
is different.
I like it, but I don't like it all the time. Like I like the baseball as a nice, easy ride.
Well, I guess I'm not taking it as literal as the game itself. It's everything between the games too. It's looking forward.
I love the drama.
Right?
I mean, I'm all in on the drama.
But it's
and
like
stuff.
looking forward to Sunday, right? Like when you get to look forward to Sunday, it's like it's why the holidays were invented, right? Like, it was either the solstice, right? People realize that human beings need something to look forward to, or else it's just grim life, right?
Yes.
Like you need something to like, whether it's vacation, whether it's the holidays, time off, rest and relaxation, all that stuff. And football is something for us that we look forward to.
Well, yeah, I plan out the day. I plan out my cheese boards, my snack, my pickies. It's a big deal. It's a whole ritual in my house.
I
like it's a whole thing, man.
I love it.
Yeah.
But the fact when they're good, let's face it, if they were 500 or not that good,
then I'd be at the pub watching.
Right? Like you're not looking forward to the game. Like the fact that they're good, it allows us to look forward to it and plan out who we're going to watch the game with, right?
Yeah.
Like all that stuff.
Absolutely, 100%. It's a big deal. I'm a one-man ritual. People think I'm crazy. Like, what do you do? Oh, I got so many pickies out. I love it. I love the 4:00 games. I love to be able to go down to tailgate a little bit, come home on my couch. It's the whole thing. So yeah, I enjoy that, and I thrive on the drama of the week. Like I love this team and how they always have soap opera drama.
You like the drama part?
I love
Like
it. I love it.
I don't like the drama. I'm not the biggest drama fan.
Yeah.
I like thinking about the sport, right? And like the week, I look forward to the week. So I play out the game in my head a million times. Like I was talking about the ESPN simulation, right? I do my own simulation in my mind, and I play out the game.
Not
like
now,
I play
not
out
now,
the game.
Tam, I'm simulating.
You're right. Like I play out the game. Like matchups, what's going to happen at the line of scrimmage, right? Like all those things. I love. And part of it is I love that sport more than last night. Got home. Frazier and I were at Parks last night doing Cousins Corner. I get home. It's late. It was miserable. It was raining. It's a long drive. I get back and I got the Flyers, right? So I watch the Flyers. And then after the Flyers, I go to UNLV, right? And I fell asleep.
UNLV?
Yeah, it was a bowl game. I like the bowl games. I don't know what it is. I'm a big fan of the bowl games, even if they don't matter. But it was UNLV and Cal. And I'm just laying on the couch. I'm sitting on the couch. And I fell asleep, right? Like, it wasn't like I really...
Surprised.
Right?
Surprised that didn't keep you awake.
No, I was watching it. I was just exhausted. It was a long day, and but it was a happy thing. Like I love that sport. I love watching it. I just do. There's something so captivating about that sport. And listen, I enjoyed the Flyers up until it's a shame because, and we'll get to them in a minute, because you come back and oh man. But the Eagles is something you really deeply care about, right?
Yeah.
And like thinking about their next game it's why I think we have depression when the season ends.
When the football season ends, you have a depression?
Oh,
I don't fall into depression like that.
Really?
Because we can roll right into March Madness, and I'm good, man. And then spring training's coming. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh my God, so
you
funny.
hate February. February is like lead up to March Madness. I hate the weather of February, but I like college basketball.
Like, dude, I can't tell you. The worst day for me is the championship weekend because there's no football on Saturday, right? And then there's only 2 games on Sunday.
You got no college football. The only thing you got to look forward to is the finale.
I do the same thing every year. I go, there's only 3 games left. And the Super Bowl, as much as like you love it, the Eagles are in it, and everyone, it's bogus.
The Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Ah, come on, man. I dig the Super Bowl.
It's bogus. I hate it.
What?
I love it. I love it, obviously, but I hate that it became a ridiculous spectacle.
Yeah? You hate the show?
Yeah, I hate the show. I hate all that stuff.
45-minute halftime.
I hate the fact that all we talk about the next day is commercials, right? Like, I get it. It's pop culture. But I automatically go, oh, man, it's over. And now I got to wait a whole other... whisk through spring and summer to get to football.
Come on, man. You're a 4-for-4 guy.
I am. Listen, I get there's across the calendar.
You're a 4-for-4. You have like an asterisk next to your number 1, though. It's like 1A.
Yes.
With the football asterisk.
Yeah. It's 1A. It's definitely 1A. And everything else. Like, listen, if the Flyers were making a run, like, oh my God, like, you get the April, May, you're pumped up, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to get there. I truly believe that the Flyers are going to get there. The Sixers, this is what's depressing about this year, is that they're not getting anywhere. And then I love baseball, and I love the beginning of baseball. And like when baseball comes around, I watch for the first 6 weeks. I watch every game, like afternoon, everything. I'm like all into it, and that's kind of how the rhythm goes. And then. And I start pining come like May, June.
I know. Like, you want to zip right through summer.
Yeah.
And you get the training camp.
Yeah. I do. I love that sport. That sport. And I think I love the fact that college football is so much better now it's ever been. So it gives me even more.
Oh, yeah. I have gratitude that you and Nagandi have helped me a little bit. I've had some fun watching some college football this year. Yeah. I'll miss it a little bit.
I'll take it to the nth degree. I've gotten so into high school football, right?
Obviously, we all have,
right? With the St. Joe's prep, and now I'm starting to look at kids like the next future generation, what school they're going to. So like I got the 3 levels.
Well, dude, you got me the other day. I don't know who we were talking with. I'm looking up the recruiting rankings for the 2026 high school class to see what Philly kids are in the top 100.
That's the best. I do. I don't know. I don't know what it is that whole thing. Do you and it's interesting. You don't phrase. Where are you at
with football?
Like, do you have that same?
I love football. I mean,
we all love it. Like,
yeah, it's my itch.
It's all.
Yeah, once the season's over, I'm waiting for the season.
You're not college, are you?
I follow, Notre Dame and all that stuff, but I'm,
Notre Dame.
Yeah, he hasn't followed. He hasn't watched a Notre Dame game in 6 years.
I've been watching this year.
Yeah, right.
I've gotten more into it this year.
Sing the song. What's their fight song?
Oh, come on. I don't know that. I'm not that big.
You're a song and dance guy. You don't know their song?
No,
come on, man.
I'm not into the song and dance stuff.
You're a song and dance man.
Yeah, sure, the fight songs and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, football. I love football. As soon as it ends, I'm waiting for the next season to start. I'm always looking.
Well, it's interesting. You do you go. Your soccer. It's soccer.
He probably mourns the end of soccer.
Yeah.
Well, end of the Premier
soccer
League.
season is so long. You have 2 sports seasons in the season of a soccer season. So
I wish they would do that with football.
So I'm okay with like the 2-month break that you get, but when it comes to football and all that stuff, out of all the sports, football is definitely the one I'm like, whoa, I need it.
I just feel like it provides us this blanket.
Steve in the chat say Notre Dame has a top 3 recognizable fight song in sports. He calling you out as a Fugazi Notre Dame fan.
Steve's right. Steve's right.
Hey,
you're a Fugazi.
Well, we do. You know who's not Fugazi? I want to give a shout while we're doing gratitude. Temple. Big accomplishment yesterday. 2,000th career or victory in men's basketball. Yeah. Can you name the other schools that have 2,000 victories? Let me help you.
How many of them are?
5.
UCLA.
Yes.
Kansas.
Yes.
Duke.
Yes.
North Carolina.
Yes. Kentucky.
Kentucky, yeah.
And Temple.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, right?
Wow, that's a great nugget.
That's a crazy list of schools with 2,000 victories.
That's a great nugget.
I can't believe my Q's are there, but man, shout out to Temple.
Well, TU over more victories than the Q's.
John Chaney just dominated that A-10.
And listen, that was the one thing about John during that period. He played tough schedules.
Yeah.
He played the Dukes. He played the Carolinas, the Kentuckys. Like, he played those teams.
Yeah.
Kansas. Temple, Kansas was always great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Big shout out to your program.
That's pretty good. That's impressive.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. All right, Flyers last night. Let's talk about this. They have grit.
Yeah, they're pesky.
But I've seen them come back from 2-goal deficits at least 3 or 4 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like they fall behind 4-2 to start the third. Bang bang, they tie the game.
If they only had a goalie,
I know,
and maybe one more defenseman, but. I mean, the typical goal was just nasty. That was so
He's a skill player, man.
Yeah.
He just is a skill player.
You can't give me Cam York makes a bad pass. He's in an area where he's got no help, so he tries a bad pass, turns into a goal, and then he benches them. You got a back-to-back games. You play tonight. You're going to stress your defense now, and then after the game, you're going to stress how important points are at this time of year. When you've been benching people in games where you can get points. The guy makes no sense. I am so out on this benching stuff. Like, they're not better off with Cam. Like, Cam, all right, as Cam York comes and has a hat trick tonight, I'm in. Then I'm in. If he has a hat trick tonight, I'm in. Other than that, get out of here with this stuff.
Well, listen, the thing is that Cam York has been playing well.
Yes.
He's been playing well. You know what's funny? You just can't stand the torts. La torta, you cannot stand.
I hate his mode of teaching. It's archaic. It doesn't work.
It's funny. There's a great Flyers fan, the woman Joanne Burke. She's a sweetheart. She loves her Flyers, right? Like, she was there at the Stanley Cup, like back in the day. Like, she loves them.
She got a little cup in her window in South Philly.
She cannot stand torts.
Yeah, good. I love Joanne. I want to have drinks with Joanne.
She cannot stand torts.
Yes. I'm in. Let's go. Me and Joanne will go. We'll have a torch fest.
It's so funny. I can't take them.
He just sends mixed signals. You can't say how important these points are this time of year when you bench Michkov in an overtime game where you could maybe win, and you're benching Cam York, one of your best players right now, in the third quarter or third period. Like, come on, man. You're not making any sense.
Here's the thing with them. it's funny. Tooch said you got to play goalie. Like they need a goalie bad. Like if you think about,
Ersan's looked bad since he's come back.
He's
very average.
Good. Yeah. When you think about how far they are away, right? Like what do they need? And again, like you got to see where they're at and the whole thing. But you got the goalie. You got to hope that goalie, the kid in the KHL, is legit.
It's
because you got to get a goalie. Obviously, you need somebody to go along with Michkov and the centerman, and you need another defenseman.
It's this.
Then
team,
I think you're a legit playoff team.
Yeah, the way that this team is bitten at goalie, the way we talk about the Sixers having bad luck. My God, they can't get a good goalie at this squad with this team, man. Like everything they get.
Go back to. I mean, ever since Hextall 2. Yeah. Right. You had the Beezer.
Yeah, Beezer when they should have Felix the Cat.
Yeah, and that was the difference in '96. I mean, he got riddled, right? Like, go through it all from, the Czechmonics to the Brizgalov, right?
I mean,
to Bob. Like, Bob wound up having a great career.
Best goalies in hockey,
right? Like,
he was here in a franchise that
he wound up having one of the great careers of all time. And then that awful story with Carter Hart.
Yeah, look, that's what I'm saying. It's Pelly Lindbergh, Carter Hart. The way they lose goalies is like, God. You got to be kidding me with this.
The Pelly thing, God forbid, that was the worst. But like, it's unbelievable. Even the end of Bernie. Bernie got ended early because of the eye. The eye.
Like, come on, are you kidding me?
I know. No, it's bad luck. But nobody's got worse luck than the Sixers. No, I'm sorry. And like people say, well, it's the process coming back, all that nonsense. They've just had some horrible, horrible luck.
They have
bad luck
and bad management. I mean, a lot of it's some of their own. I mean, they have created some of their own bad luck too.
Some of it is, but the freakish nature of things. Embiid himself.
I've never heard of anyone getting so many facial injuries in basketball.
Well, no. You saw that? Did you see there was somebody put out the. There's been 36 facial fracture injuries or whatever in the history of the league, and Embiid's got 3.
What is about it? Has anyone analyzed his game? Does he lead with his face on everything? I don't. It's weird.
Yeah, well, there is a piece of that, but it's. I mean, come on, it's freakish.
Steve's telling us that Zavragin will be here in 2026.
That's it.
2 more years.
I know.
What a great name.
But here's the thing, though. It is a great name.
Apparently, he's got a 941 save percentage.
I mean, are you kidding me? And that's an offensive lead.
Yeah, and he's 19.
That's unbelievable. But listen, like you can't rush this thing. Like we found out about rushing the rebuild before. It's trying to skip steps.
I'm fine not rushing. I just don't. The benching of people constantly and the healthy scratches. Like, come on.
I know.
Let's just leave the town on the ice.
I hear you, buddy. All right. Lots to get to today. We got I love it. It's one of my favorite segments of the week from the editor's desk. Our man, Pat McLoone, comes in with the 5 headlines of the week. Love that. Jeff McLane will join us, talk a little some birds coming up at 10. Baldy for the Meat Locker at 10:30. So that's what's going on.
Jam-packed.
All right.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about some of our friends. We got a little True Mark. How about that, buddy?
True Mark, they're at it again. Doing good in the community. That's what credit unions do. And this time they're helping kids. They're helping you help your kids become responsible financial individuals as they mature. So we know how hard it is without the proper coach in the win. So TrueMark's here to help you coach your kids financially through their new Greenlight account. It's a pretty cool you get an app with it. It's changing the game, helps kids and teens learn how to save, earn their money, spend it wisely. You can set up saving goals, track their spending, and sprinkle their allowance in there, all through the Greenlight app. The cool thing is the kids get their own debit card, which you have control of, and you set limits, and they get to make their own choices, make their own purchases, and feel like an adult. You get peace of mind. They get the freedom to make smart decisions with their money. It's like coaching your kids through their very own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, it's totally free. With the holidays right around the corner, now is the perfect time to introduce your kids to this Greenlight program. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information.
All right. Listen, TikTok 6 days. I know there's a big shopping weekend, last-minute shopping weekend. And if you're looking for great gift ideas, look no further than jewelry. Specifically, Golden Nugget Jewelers, right in the heart of Jewelers Row, 8th and Chestnut. Listen, you're looking around. What do I get my mom? What do I get my grandma? What do I get my girl? Right? Like you're thinking about it. Well, you can't go wrong with Golden Nugget Jewelers. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, bracelets. I mean, you name it. They have some of the most gorgeous stuff, great prices. And if you met someone and you're thinking about popping the question, you can't beat it. You got to go see my man, Yaron. He's going to give you a whole education on buying the engagement ring, from the diamond to the setting. Put it together. He'll work within your budget. And then it's up to you. Like, you know, you want to do it Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Valentine's Day. This is the heart of engagement season. So head on over to Golden Nugget Jewelers, right in the heart of Jewelers Row, Center City, Philadelphia. GoldenNuggetJewelers.com, where Philly gets engaged. All right, time now.
It's a mad rush over Jewelers Road. All standing in line at Golden Nugget, trying to get in and get those gifts.
Yeah.
Because you know us dudes, last minute kind of people.
I'm a last minuter all the time.
Yeah,
I
that's
still
what
haven't
dudes
bought
are.
anything.
Of course not.
I haven't either. Not a thing.
No.
I got a 3-year-old nephew, and I have like no toys for him. Horrible.
Well, you'll get it. Just go Dick's Sporting Goods, buddy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's great. It's great when they get to be like 10. It's just cash. They just want cash. Cash is king.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
10.
Cash.
No, cash.
10?
What are you, nuts?
Yeah, man. They don't know
No.
what things they want. And like, boom. Uncle comes with a bag of cash. They love it.
No, get him new
Nah.
cleats. Give him a baseball.
No.
Cash, Joey, tell him
Gloves.
cash is king. Look, he's nodding. He knows cash is king.
Yeah, Joey's 20. What are you, 25 for? Yeah,
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, he wants cash.
He wants cash
Give him
now.
$150. They go get their video
Yeah,
games.
but when
their
you're
sneakers,
12, you
whatever
don't
they
want, when
want.
you're 10, you don't want cash.
I always.
I still love cash.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, my man.
Cash, man. He's just like his father.
Cash
It's about
me.
the cash.
Cash me now.
I want the gift. I like the sports, right? Give me I still dream about, man, if I could just go into Dick's Sporting Goods at night with 3 shopping carts, what I would buy.
Oh, I would still
What I
love
would
to
get.
do that. I have no place for all that gear, but I would still
Yeah.
just love to have it.
Like I still love Mosmo. Like he's asking for this new bat because there's something called the Baseball Bros.
Oh, yeah, I know those
I
guys.
love the Baseball Bros, right?
I've
So
seen
you
them.
guys know about the baseball?
Yeah, what's this-
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right. So there's this bat that he wants.
$1,200.
Yeah,
I know
easy.
it's crazy, right?
Easy.
He's like, Daddy, one of the Baseball Bros hit a 555-foot home run. It's got a big barrel, screw-on barrel, and I'm like, it's sold out. It's called the Combat.
The Calm?
Oh, wow. What a great name.
Yeah, Combat. COM.
Yeah, the combat.
The Combat. And my wife is going everywhere looking for the Combat, and the thing's sold out.
Is that a legal bat that you can use in league play?
Yeah.
Big barrel like that?
It's got a big, yeah, sure.
Yeah? All
Yes, yes. My man wants the Combat. I was like, oh my god.
Ah, they're only $250. That's not terrible.
And it's it's a bar, but they're sold
If
out.
you can find it.
I can't find it anywhere. The Combat, it's crazy. All right, let's go to our man. We love him. He is a Philadelphia treasure, formerly the editor of the Daily News. He ran that sports section forever, the paper itself. He's just the greatest. He's our friend, Pat McLoone from the editor's desk.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
This just in, ladies and gentlemen, and all the ships at sea. It's time for headlines from the editor's desk with Pat McLoone.
Good morning, Pat.
Hello, guys. You'll get your
I
combat.
think you're on
Who is
mute,
more
brother.
Jackson? What's
I
that?
can't hear you. Yep. There we go.
How about now?
No.
There's a mute
No.
thing I'm hitting, but
What was that commercial? Can you hear
I
me now?
can't hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
all right. Maybe
Let's
I'll
see.
jump.
No,
I'll
we
jump
just
on
see
the
your-
link here. Hold on.
We see you. We got to read lips. All right. Try to.
I wanted to, let's ask Pat what his favorite Christmas gift was as a kid. I'd like to know growing up what he was into as a kid.
I probably it was the same thing.
Like sports stuff?
Yeah.
Base,
I mean, it's
basketball?
like, to this day, I love equipment. To this day.
Someone said Moss is going to show up with a cricket bat.
the barrel of this bat
Yeah.
is big. Like it's almost like a pool cue where you screw it on.
All right. So they're saying people could hear him, but we couldn't hear him. The chat said they could hear him.
Oh, the chat could hear him?
They could hear him, but we couldn't hear him. Why couldn't we hear him?
I don't know, Andrew.
What's going on here?
That's your deal. Figure it out, my brother.
No, the one. Oh, go ahead, man. I just had one little nugget I was jam in because we're grateful. Also, Dan Plesac on the MLB Network said there's one perfect pitcher in baseball right now, and it is Zach Wheeler.
Really?
Yeah. Nice little segment. They did like a 3-minute little breakdown on Zach and why he's the perfect pitcher.
Really?
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, not for nothing. Was that one of the great trades?
Yeah.
Oh,
never
my
expected this from him.
I mean, like, who would have thought that he would have gave you that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. My God, he is. I mean, even game one against the Mets, he pitches a gem.
He might be at that Alice in Chains show because his warm-up song's The Rooster.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna try here. Let's see if we can get him.
Good morning.
How about now, guys?
Yes. Eureka.
Beautiful. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I don't think it was your fault, brother.
Okay, good. Well, it's a Christmas tradition to mess up at the beginning. My sons they'll be humored by it. Now, listen, Anthony, that combat, you're going to get that combat. Who knows more people that are going to pull one out of their ear at the last second to get Mass's combat? I'm confident in you.
I don't know. I don't know anybody at the combat store.
Yeah.
Combat
to me was an old Army thing with Vic Morrow back in the day, but that's dating things. Yeah.
What kind of bat did you swing growing up?
Oh, I swung whatever they had at the local sporting. I swung I was an all contact, no power kind of guy. I could hit that 80-mile-an-hour fastball out of a 12-year-old, but it wasn't going very far. I know the kind of power Moss has. He's just the opposite.
Well, the best is he says to me last night, there's another bat, right? And my wife goes, well, what about, and I forget the name of it, X bat. He goes, that's for contact guys. He says, I'm a power hitter.
Yeah. Tell Moss to send me the contact bat. I'll deal with that.
Hey, Pat, you bring it up. You kind of bring it up. Like back in the day, our coaches were like the guys who hung out at the bars, and then they come with this bag of wood bats or aluminum bats that were like 12 years old.
Right.
They're like all different sizes.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't even tell what make they were because it was worn off. It's like we just hit with whatever.
Exactly. As we get closer to the baseball season, I get a great story that, in short, I had the best Irish parents you could ever ask for. But for my first Little League game, the Allenny Midget League, I was sent to my first practice in a sport coat. And they cut back then, but I must have been okay because I made it somehow. The coach pulled me over and he said, what are you doing, son? You don't need to dress up for this. But what did I know?
A little future Connie Mack.
Oh, I know. I can just imagine your
and
mom.
What's funny is, over the years then, my mother didn't know anything about it. When my mother passed in 2014, she knew more about the Phillies than I did.
See that? It's amazing. That's amazing. That's a great story.
So let me tell you, Ant, I heard all this stuff about what you said earlier, and I agree with it. I'm also the kind of guy, and this week's different because the Eagles are on their way, but if it was a middle of the season, I'm also the guy that if the Eagles lose at 1:00, I'm out. I'm out for the rest of the day. But if the Eagles win at 1:00, I'm all about hoping the Vikings lose to the Seahawks and just the league in general. I'm all in,
Interesting. There is a lot of people like you that if the Eagles lose, they're done with football for the day.
Without a doubt. I mean, this team's so good, and they're going to lose at some point. I can't be a total whack job, and after 10 wins, flip out that they lost or whatever. They're not going to lose Sunday anyway. So
I don't think so either. In fact, Greg, you think it's a tight game?
I think this is a dangerous game here. I wouldn't be upset if they lost. I mean, Yeah, I don't want to go into the playoffs on a 13-game winning streak. I know hot teams win, but you're just destined for something to go wrong at some point. They're coming through a stretch where they played the Commanders, they played the Rams, Ravens, Steelers. Like, this is kind of like a letdown. Jaden Daniels is a little banged up last time they played. I think he's going to be like a little motivated. I don't think they have enough skill on paper, but it's just going to be could be a weird game where Jaden Daniels goes off. That's what I just think could happen.
We'll see. Let me tell you what I got here, Anthony. I have 2 Eagles as usual. I have Eagles defense, Eagles Pro Bowl, NFL, college football / portal, and Philadelphia Christmas, past and present.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. Let's go Eagles Pro Bowl.
Okay. And the headline I have for this is, it's an honor, not a destination. And the reason I say that is, if you're making the Pro Bowl, do you really care whether you're involved in the tug of war or duck, duck, goose or whatever they're trotting out there as a competition these days? And
duck,
so I just thought we would talk a little bit about this. I think that they had 8 Eagles in the Pro Bowl in 2022. They may do it again. I think there's 5 locks, and I'd be interested what you guys think. My 5 locks are Saquon, Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, and Quinyon Mitchell. I think they are stone cold locks, or should be. Something's wrong if one of those 5 aren't there. Missing anybody? I mean, there's other guys that may. AJ? Those are my locks.
How about AJ?
He's on my next tier. I'm a little worried about, not worried, but my thing on AJ would be he missed a few games. And, but is he Pro Bowl in talent? No question. When he catches that ball, forget about it with that yak he picks up. But he'd be on the second tier because there are so many guys you can make an argument for behind that.
Becton?
Yeah, I was thinking about Becton too.
You can argue, in my opinion, for Mailata, Dickerson, Becton, Jalen, AJ, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think Becton should be I think they got to get 2 from that line.
I agree. It's a matter of after Lane, where do you go? I'm not sure how much stock to put in that Pro Football Focus, but it's another source of information. They have Mailata as the highest rated lineman in the league.
Wow. Well, Sewell's got to get it.
Now, with Mailata, I'm all for him in the Pro Bowl, and I think he's that caliber. My concern about Mailata is the same thing. He missed 3 or 4 games.
Right. No, he's a great story, man. He's a terrific player. He really is. I think Lane and Sewell should probably be your tackles. Because Detroit's line's really good too, right?
Sure is.
So, but I'm with you, man. Becton, converted tackle into guard and has been one of the keys to Saquon. I'm with you.
Yeah. Becton has made for Becton and Bond make for some interesting decisions for Howie in the offseason. I was kind of one of the reasons that Howie has handled this cap so well and the Cowboys are so terrible are the preemptive strikes and the guys they sign. And maybe there's still time, but they're kind of past the point where Howie, lines up somebody for a couple years down the road, gets in on them early. I thought Becton and Bond were 2 candidates for that this year.
I agree.
I'm not one to question how he deals with the cap. Even when he might not be totally on it with the evaluation of personnel, he's never, ever wrong on the cap. Look what they did when everybody said, oh, my God, they paid Jalen. They're going to have a couple of years where they have to go cheap or whatever. Never happened. Never happened.
It's amazing. And then you see how the thing destroyed the Cowboys, right? Like, it's a real deal. How it destroyed Dallas, and the Eagles never fall into that trap. It's pretty impressive.
I agree. It really is. Really is. And they've been that way a long way. I guess Joe Banner was kind of the architect of that and brought in Howie, and they've had, Rosenberg and different guys like that they're one step ahead of that. They're one step ahead of the rules of the league on that thing, and they take every little advantage, and we're seeing it on the field.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go. So I'm saving Philadelphia Christmas for last.
We even over the defense. So then if you got Eagles defense and Philly Christmas, you're now choosing between college football / portal or NFL in general.
NFL in general.
Okay. Before I get to the serious stuff, and maybe this is more serious than anything. Did anybody get a load of those Vikings uniforms the other night?
They're horrible.
How are they doing?
Horrible.
They have such a
I
great
hate
purple.
when teams have iconic jerseys, and I know why they do it. They do it for marketing, but who's going to buy that all white Vikings thing?
Ugly.
You didn't know whether they were the Vikings or whether they were the Raging Cajuns or something like that. I mean,
yes, that's a good call.
You have to really go look hard to see they were the Vikings. And I think the Vikings white is a far cry from their purple jerseys, but their purple jerseys are iconic.
Yes.
What are they thinking?
Did you see the Packers Sunday night? Ew.
Yes.
I hated those jerseys too.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, maybe it's the city equivalent of stuff, but I really hate it when, some of the teams that we hate, but, I don't hate it's the Mets for me, but
yeah.
If you're the Yankees, the Celtics, some of these teams, the Bears, don't be messing with it. That's iconic stuff. Yeah. Just sell more iconic jerseys rather than a few new ones.
Yeah.
But as it relates to the league, our headline there is the seed's not yet planted. And it's way out. It's wild even to this day. I think that's Gibbs, which is a perfect pick by Andrew because my God, are the Lions banged up. We're going to see how good this guy is. He was kind of a thunder and lightning combination with Montgomery, but now Montgomery's out. And Akeem McNeil is out, that D tackle who's real good. Akeem McNeil, if you remember, he's the guy during the draft. I think it was Tom Donahue, who's certainly a guy that had been around a while, was still with the team. And if you remember how he made the pick and he went to high five everybody and he went to Donahue and Donahue turned his back on him.
Yes.
Well, back then that was because they did not pick Akeem McNeil.
Yeah.
And they picked Milton Williams. I'm good. Milton Williams is fine, I think. But it should, McNeil's a good player. And just losing McNeil, Hutchinson, and Montgomery would be enough for a team. But the Lions, they're at the point now where I maybe I'm a little more worried about the Vikings, but that Lions team can still put up offense. But I got to think the Eagles would score big on that.
I'm with you. I think I'm not worried about them as much now. I think Montgomery is a catastrophic loss for him. Because here's the thing. Defensively, they're going to get a couple guys back. McNeil's big. They've lost 2 corners. I mean, they've been decimated. They're going to get Anzalone back, but that defense is still riddled. What you can't lose is something from your best unit, which is your offense. And Montgomery is the tenderizer of a defense. He's the guy that goes in and softens things up for Gibbs to have the big strikes. That's a huge loss. I can't stress to you. I think that hurts them because Goff only works with play action. They built that team right around Goff, right? Which is we're going to run, and then we can extend with play action to get them some time to go down the field to St. Brown or Williams, right? Or Laporta.
Yeah,
that
and
it's a big loss.
If you're a 3rd and 3, that play action with Montgomery back there becomes very credible.
Yeah.
And now it's a little less so. Yes.
Pat, you bring this up. I found this graphic earlier today. This is a list of teams and how many players they have on IR, PUP, or out. And the Lions with 22 currently up there there's no one even close to them. I mean, the Browns have 18.
Wow.
Eagles have 7. They have 27 different starters on defense.
Yeah. A big part of my next 3 games is keeping my fingers crossed and they're going to get to points in the games where you're going to have a lot of people in the know saying, get Barkley out of there, get Hurts out of there, at a certain point. So, and to that end, as long as we're talking NFL, I saw in the injury thing that Patrick Mahomes was a full participant in practice. What are they doing? What are they doing?
I got to tell you, I was stunned because we were doing our betting show last night, and I just figured he was out. And I'm looking at the line was like 3.5. And I'm going, well, I guess that means no Mahomes. And they're like, no, it was, the line was started off, they were a dog. Truthfully, I wanted to see Wentz. I wanted to see Wentz.
I do too. I
really wanted to see him. And I was curious because you remember the success Andy's had with backup quarterbacks, right? Coy Detmer, AJ, Jeff Garcia, right? Like, he said, I was curious to see if he's able to rehab Wentz at all.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Andy, I sit Mahomes this week and Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It's a quick turnaround. And, even this week, they're playing on Saturday. So, it's a short window for Mahomes. If I'm them, I sit them both weeks. I don't know who they play in the final week, but sure, get him back out there to get him, I don't think that guy would accumulate any rust, but get him out there for a couple snaps in the last week so you're ready for the playoffs. But they're not in any real danger of losing the bye, I don't think. I mean, Buffalo's not that close to them. They only have one loss.
I'm thinking the same thing that you were. I'm going, they play Wednesday. So if you play Wednesday, why wouldn't you give him this whole week and then he comes back and plays Christmas Day? I know Netflix wants Patrick Mahomes on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Well, Netflix, if it were me, Netflix wouldn't get what they want. I'll tell you that. But so, it's a beautiful thing to be worrying about seeds in the other division and stuff like that. But can't take our eyes off the birds. But they're giving us so much joy, and that's what it's all about. And like you, I'm grateful not only for this season, but I'm grateful that the last couple of years that they've been riding high.
Relevant.
I wasn't feeling real grateful this time last year, but
my cousin and I talk about this all the time, Pat. Like, here's what I want. I really want relevancy. That's my number one. Yeah, I know, and we all want a parade. Like, that's obvious. But give me relevancy that takes me from the beginning of the season through the playoffs, right? Like, that's looking forward to it. I love looking forward to Sunday. Like, I've already played the game out 500 times in my head, right? Like, I love looking forward to it. It's something that we as human beings need, right? And for us, it's football.
Absolutely. Yep, we're all set. I'm all geeked up about this squad.
All right. College football, portal.
Okay. Now, I wanted to hold my powder a little bit on this. For college football, the headline is Portal Combat.
Nice.
And I'd really rather get into the games, but
that's great, Pat.
The NFL, the NCAA, I'll fight anybody over. There is not a more ineffective organization out there, even governmental. The NCAA makes them look foolish. What the hell are they thinking about with this portal thing opening at the time that it does? I mean, Penn State loses their backup quarterback. You can't blame the young man. Prabula, he'll be a good starter for someone. You remember a few years ago, they had Clifford and Will Levis, and Will Levis got out, and Will Levis was a first-round pick. First-round pick is getting benched this week, but still. Anthony, what would be the harm in opening the portal on February 15th?
So
there's plenty of time.
I had this conversation with Kevin Nagandi yesterday, right? Because it's funny how you and I think alike. Because it drives me nuts. Like, you lose Marshall can't even have a team to play the bowl game, right? It's silly.
Right.
So he said the issue is the semesters. Not all the semesters are equal, right? The timing of it. Some colleges have the 3 semesters. And so because they don't start the same time, there's enrollment issues. So you can't enroll the kid. If you wait till February, you can't enroll the kid then.
Right. Well, let's be honest. If these guys are that high powered, I get that to a degree. And I'm the last one to eschew the academics. But look, if this guy wants to do this and transfer somewhere and he misses out on a semester of academics, if he's serious minded, he'll get back in the game. They're probably going to be there 5 or 6 years anyway, right?
Pat, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm thinking of the same thing. I go, well, who cares? What are we trying to say here? We know what it is, right? Like everybody knows what it is. You're huge. Pat, my nephew was so excited because he got accepted to Penn State, which was his number one school. And so he's like, Uncle Ann, I'm going to Penn State, blah, blah, blah. And all the schools he applied to were all football schools. He's like, I want to go to a big football
school. Oh, that's
school.
so funny.
Right?
My youngest son, Tom, he applied to Penn State, Maryland, and like 5 SEC schools. And he finally told us at the end that he said, look, if for some reason I didn't get into Penn State, I was going to find another friend and we were going to go somewhere to watch big-time football. And I think he would have wound up in Maryland, but,
I think that.
And, you say it's your cousin or your nephew?
My nephew.
Penn State?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's like my wife, Tracy, said the first time with her oldest son, Pat, we went on the thing. We went to Delaware on Monday. She loved it. Scranton on Tuesday. She always wanted a kid to go there. We went up to Penn State. She got out of the car, parked at the Bryce Jordan Center, looking at the stadium, and just put her head down and said, he's going here, isn't he? I said, yes, he's going here. Yeah. And that's where my oldest and youngest went, and, they had a great time,
I think the college game day show is a big factor, too, because that game looks like so much fun with those crowds. And even if the kids don't watch that show, they're seeing the clips on social media. And it's a big deal when they see kids 6 a.m. going crazy in Alabama or Tennessee. And it's like, yeah, I want to be part of that.
Without a doubt. And so if that's the case, right, it's big business for these universities, not just TV money and the whole thing for football, but for enrollment. Like you get all that enrollment, all that tuition. So what's the pretense here? It's ridiculous. Those kids, when you move the portal back, you save the bowl games, you have the playoffs, and then you have a big portal. And you treat it like the NFL, free agency. That's what we're talking about. It's the free agent period. And then you can actually do a whole, Feb 1, right? And then you're taking over the news, just like the NFL did on March 1st.
And suddenly you love February. You'll be all in now on hot stove college football action.
Do we have enough time to look at the 4 games this weekend and the spreads real quick?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm looking at the different spreads. Notre Dame's only 7 over Indiana. Penn State's 9 over SMU. These are all Bet Parks numbers. I'm no dummy. Clemson, Texas is 11.5. And then one of the short spreads, come on. I think that of all these, Tennessee, Ohio State, 7.5. That's the closest game. Yeah. That's got to be the shortest spread.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for it. That's a double win for me because I'm kind of bred to dislike Ohio State. And if I get Ohio State losing and making VG happy, that's a win for me. That's a big win.
I would love that, but the numbers, I don't like the numbers on that game. The public is all over Tennessee, and the numbers crept up from 7 to 7.5, which is not a good sign. So Vegas is very happy with us all betting Tennessee.
The brain likes Indiana.
Yeah.
No. The brain likes Indiana, and he likes SMU. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. I followed Penn State too long to know that they're very capable of losing SMU. Here's the one thing I'll say about Penn State. If they beat SMU, I feel good about them beating Boise because we talked before. Boise, you just load up Abdul Carter and get a couple of fat hogs in the middle and spread it out and tell Gianti you're not getting anywhere and make them beat you the other way.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And how about the long spread on Texas Clemson? You're throwing 11.5 to Dabo Swinney? Ooh, I don't know about that.
I know. And Hewers is a sitting duck back there. with the ankle.
Sure is.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know what, like, if you're Texas, you got to play Arch Manning. There's like, you got to mix him in a lot.
I totally agree with you. Just like you talked about with Goff getting to play action, you're making that defense think a lot more if it's Arch Manning back there because Ewers isn't moving.
Right.
And Arch, not only can he move, but he's like Hurts in that if he gets there and needs that extra yard, he'll put a load on you. He's a strong young guy.
Yeah, he really is. I love it. I can't wait for this weekend. All right, let's go. Where are we at? We're at
Eagles defense or Philly Christmas, past and present.
No, Eagles defense. I love Philly Christmas. I don't know what it is.
And look, I take liberties, and you guys let me do this, and I appreciate it. But I thought it was a time of the year, and Anthony would want this with the Christmas. All right, the Eagles defense is why this defense hits home, and I saw some of the comparisons. Oh, it's funny. I told Andrew, I said, just find a great hit, and he the best. That's the hit of the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit of the season right there. Great work, Mr. Frazier. But here you go with this. And one of the things I thought about this defense is I needed to remind myself: does the NFL have an award for the assistant coach of the year? And they do. The AP has had an award since 2014, where Todd Bowles was the first pick as a defensive coordinator for player assistant of the year. And every assistant who's won that award has gone on to be a head coach, including our man Vic Fangio.
Wow.
Who won it with the Bears and went on to the Broncos. Because I'm thinking two things about the Eagles. One, Ben Johnson was last year's news. There's nothing bigger in coaching than what Fangio's done this year. And there's never been a non-coordinator to win that award in the 10 years. I think you got to go off board one year and give it to Jeff Stoutland, who's not a coordinator. Talk about assistant coaches of the year. I think the Eagles got a pair right there.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great point. And Stoutland does not get enough national praise, love. Once in a while, Aikman and Joe Buck will bring him up a little bit, but he never gets and he is the secret sauce behind that line being stable since 17. Like, since the Super Bowl, that line's been really good, and it's all because of Stoutland.
Right. And when you trotted out this year against the 88 team, and now you're going at my heart and your heart and VG's heart, a Buddy team. The big difference is, Buddy didn't care much about offense to begin with, and he didn't trot out much of an offensive line. That this year's O-line compared to serviceable guys like Ron Heller and Matt Darwin, not even a comparison.
What would explain to those people, because the younger generation wouldn't know. Imagine Randall Cunningham. So he's the godfather of all the quarterbacks, Fran Tarkenton, and Randall to me is the godfather of today's quarterback. What would he be like with this offensive line? Seriously,
I can't even imagine.
And coaching.
I mean, the coaching with this offensive line. And the one thing about Randall is it took him a little while to unfurl that long arm, but he had a whip when he was done. Yeah. And, you saw those passes to Fred Barnett.
Yeah.
He could throw that thing, 70, 80 yards in the air. And much like Donovan, he didn't have the greatest, although when you trotted that out there, how about that, wide receiver, tight end combination? Randall didn't have the best offensive line and maybe the best backfield, but Chris Carter, Mike Quick, and Keith Jackson, there are a couple weapons there.
Yeah.
A couple weapons there for sure.
Yeah. Keith Jackson was great.
Yes, he was.
He was great. And Chris Carter was great, but here he had the issues. Then he goes on to become a Hall of Famer.
Right. And he credited Buddy a lot for that.
Yeah.
He went down a dark road, and Buddy sent him packing, and he just had to decide, am I going to continue to be a player, or am I going to just chase the wrong things? And he he thinks that tough love from Buddy really made him the player he was with the Vikings and all.
Yeah. You brought up Randall's release, and you're right. Like, he almost twisted his elbow.
Yes.
Right? Like, instead of the over out your ear like you're supposed to, right? He would twist the elbow and throw it. And
right.
Which made
and if
it
you were the guy getting it at like 8-yard thing, there wasn't much touch, man. He threw a rocket at you.
Oh,
boy,
God, it came out howitzer. Yeah.
Some of the plays, the Jimmy Giles play that he wound up throwing, getting flipped by Carl Banks. And some of the stuff he did.
Yesterday.
He was a big, lanky guy, 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my God.
All right. I'm looking forward to this one. Philly Christmas.
Okay. Well, first of all, this one is a very Philly Christmas. Now, hopefully VG can put the post here. There you go.
Oh, I love it.
Christmas past and Christmas present, okay?
Oh, look at that. It's beautiful.
You're talking to the guy in the long coat and the fedora on the left.
I love it. Oh, I love it.
All right?
You look like a detective.
And even there, and those are my grandkids, you always have
like
young ones running away from Santa, okay? But even that is a vestige of the differences between Christmas past and present. That picture of me is the elderly Smith ladies taking me down on the subway to Wanamaker's to sit on Santa's lap, as opposed to the studio that you go to for the package shot of Santa, And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the differences. If we could go down the newspaper trail for a second. Christmas in Philly is a microcosm of what happened to the newspapers for people that weren't really into it. Back then, with that old picture, this is what Philadelphia Christmas was all about. Philadelphia Christmas was about the Thanksgiving Day parade, and at the end of the parade, Santa getting off the float onto a fireman's ladder and getting lifted up and climbing in the window of the Gimbel's toy department at 8th and Market, okay? And now, here's the thing. When the Daily News and Inquirer left the iconic White Tower on 400 North Broad, we moved into that Sprodridge's building. But back when I had my hat on, what you did looking for Christmas is you went downtown to the department store.
Yes.
And at 8th and Market, on 3 of the 4 corners, you had on the northeast corner Litz, on the northwest corner Strawbridge's.
Yes.
On the southwest corner Gimbel's. And then at Broad Street, you had Wanamaker's. So it was department store wars. And where did those department store wars play out? In the pages of the newspaper. Page after page after page of Strawbridge's throwing down 12 pages of advertising. Then Gimbel's coming with 14 pages of advertising. And the newspapers printed money. And they printed money. And then fast forward to years later, the newspaper is downsized into the old Strawbridge's building because the department stores really went away. Litz went away. Gimbel's went away. Strawbridge's wildly downsized. Wanamaker's became Macy's. And all that advertising was gone. And the shopping experience went from going downtown to the department stores to going to malls, and now we're past that. You see in the Chamonix Mall, a Plymouth Meeting Mall, you go in there to walk for exercise. It's beautiful in there, but there's nothing in there, and now it's all online shopping, and that's where all the money is. High tech, one thing, and then we'll have a little fun with it, kicking it among us. High tech back in the day, in my day, was the Sears catalog. You would thumb through the Sears catalog, earmarked everything you wanted, and then Santa would bring it by virtue of going to Sears on the boulevard and them having everything ready for you. I thought, wow, how convenient is that? They'll never do better than that. It looks so ridiculous now, but it was high tech back then. And it just shows how, and now look at Christmas in Philly, then Wanamaker's and the Wanamaker's, Oregon, Strawbridge Village, Horn and Harder. Now, Macy's, Oregon, the Christmas Village outside with the love statue, the ice skating, and pop-up bars. It's still a great Christmas vibe in Philly and a great Christmas vibe in town, but it just goes to show you Christmas past, Christmas present. Philly in a nutshell.
That was the wish book.
Wow. You nailed it, Pat. You absolutely nailed it. I got to tell you, I do miss, going uptown was the greatest around Christmas time. Just, I like, you're talking and my mind is going back to just walking in these department stores and there was a throng of people. Right. And it was just a great, and you would get something to eat after. It was it was awesome.
We would do breakfast with Santa. They put on a show downtown somewhere, and then you'd go to like the Christmas Village in one of the department stores.
Macy's had the
you just
Christmas
walk through.
Yes.
You just walk through, and it's like nothing but toys and stuff. It's like,
it was
oh
the
my
great.
God.
Yeah. I took the kids when Wanamaker's becomes Macy's. Tam and I take the kids to Macy's and the light show. And
Yes.
Well, they had their own village inside where Santa's at the end of it, and we get something to eat.
Yep.
Like it's the great, but nobody
The
does it
one-of-a-kind
anymore.
organ. You're so right about the throng, Anthony. I remember walking in and looking up and being awed, but since it was a throng, you couldn't stop to enjoy it because the crowd kept pushing you along. It was so crowded.
Yes.
Dude, that wish book. I just found a picture. You would get you like betting sheets, anything with sports. There was just pages and pages of like the varsity, every team you could get and look at.
God,
it was like,
that is having something
awesome.
like that. I remember we just talked about Randall, my oldest son, Pat. Randall jersey, Eagles helmet. He's still got the Eagles helmet that he puts on his kids. And the other thing real quick I wanted to talk about with the Christmas was, how about the sports? Now you've got PlayStation 5. The football was that vibrating field with them all going over into the corner, and you put a little cotton swab on the guy to throw it. It was ridiculous, but we all wanted it.
We loved it.
Basketball was that thing where the ping pong balls fell into the holes, and you would pull it and shoot it.
Yeah.
And hockey, you would put those metal, you change teams, you put it on the metal slab, and you would, it was like a foosball kind of thing.
Love it.
Yes.
Rod hockey was the greatest. Yes. My cousin and I, we had battles. And then we had, the other one was Nerf basketball. Remember the puff basketball?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Man, my cousin and I, we would have battles, Joey and I.
Dunking on the back of the door.
And there was my grandfather had a barber shop on 18th Street. And so that became the house. That was the family house. So the barbershop then became our kind of playroom. And so we would put the puff basketball net in the barbershop. And we're going at it. And my grandmother, stop with these boys. They're roughhousing again. And she'd be yelling at my Cookie, sister, they're roughhousing. They're going to come through the door. And, it was the greatest. It was the best, man.
Yes, sir. I see my man, Jeff McLane, in the background. He, too, is a father of boys. Me, you, and McLane, none of us have figured out how to have the little girl, as far as I know. So he's a good man. I hate if I took up any of Jeff's time because God knows I'm just goofing around compared to Jeff and Baldy as it comes to football.
We love you. See you tomorrow, right?
Oh, I'll come down for laughs. Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on. You're going to be on the show tomorrow. We got our big Christmas. We did our Thanksgiving at the Reading Terminal Market, and now we do Christmas at the Reading Terminal Market. See you tomorrow, brother.
Okay, we'll have a Guinness and talk Christmas.
Yes.
See you guys. Take care.
Many Guinnesses. I'm going to get Jeff to see if he can.
I wish Jeff come down before. He's probably got to go down to the stadium at some point.
Well,
but
maybe he can stop over,
pop in,
hang out, have a Guinness with us. Yeah, Jeff, come up. Jeff McLane's going to join us. But let's talk a little bit about some of our friends, like the Bet Park Sportsbook and online casino app. We were talking about earlier with all the college football, the playoffs, the Birds on Sunday. It's a huge day, huge football weekend starting tomorrow night with Notre Dame and Indiana. So check out the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. We got a game tonight. I like the Chargers tonight, by the way. I can see I like them a lot actually tonight. Every Friday on the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, they do double the spread. And they pick a game, all right, and they're going to double it. So make sure you look at tomorrow right around noontime, and they're going to double the spread, all right? And it does really well, all right? So check it out because you're going to want to jump all over that. BetParks.com has all the details. Again, double the spread. You can't beat that. Again, you bet on more than just the score, all the props you want, the same game parlays. I mean, you name it. It's right there on the app. And you can check out Cousins Corner. We got a lot of good picks for you. As always, BetParks.com for all the details. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Maryland. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let's mention our friends over at Glad Hair Restoration. So if you're like me and you don't have a nice head of hair like Cuz, don't wait like me until it's too late. You're starting to thin out. Give our friends over at Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical a little shout out, a little call. Reach out to them. Give them a call. Established by the late, great Dr. Paul Glad, is now under the direction of renowned plastic surgeon Ken Morgenstern, who's a nationally recognized specialist and among the few surgeons in the country trained in oculofacial plastic surgery. Doctors Glad and Morgenstern, they had a good bond that spanned many years. They were friends, they hung out together, and they also collaborated on research studies, and they worked together in the operating room. What makes Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern better than the rest out there? Well, it's the same peerless approach to care you've known all along, the same expert team, and the same unmatched Glad system. Each member of this team is exceptionally trained. They have over 30 years experience, and hair restoration is all they do. They have cool treatments like laser light therapy, non-invasive TED treatments. Each patient receives a complimentary one-on-one consultation to pinpoint your best course of action. And they'll be honest with you. If you're too far gone like I am, they'll tell you you're too far gone. Caring patient advocates work with you from your first phone call to your last follow-up appointment because they know it's a stressful time. And Glad Hair just isn't about restoration anymore. It's about innovation. Their breakthrough treatments, they dramatically change lives, man. They change your hair and change your life. Bald is now optional. If you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself, Glad Hair has the right treatment for you. So regain that confidence. Visit GladHairMCTR.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started.
All right, my brother. Thank you. This portion of the program brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out the credit union difference at TrueMark. Great place. All right, TrueMark.com/PHLY. Now joining us, he does such a great job covering the Birds. We love him. Friend of the show, longtime friend of the show. He's our man. You heard Pat talk about him, Jeff McLane. Jeffrey, good morning.
Hey, what's up, man?
He looks like a model. He looks like he's on the photo shoot. Look at that hair.
I just shaved.
Wow.
I just shaved for like the first time in a long time, and I don't have my typical hat or hoodie on or something.
Stunning,
so.
Jeff. You look stunning today.
Oh yeah, it's all for you boys.
I shaved today for the first time in a while too. Hey,
And I have this light here.
You heard Pat, right? Give me some of your Christmas Philadelphia memories growing up.
Oh,
Did you guys
wow.
go uptown?
I kind of recall that. I grew up. I was born in Philadelphia and lived in Philadelphia until I was like 6, and then we moved out to the burbs around that time. So like Willow Grove Mall was kind of like our haunt growing up. So I guess I recall going there to visit Santa, and we do the light to go around, try and find the neighborhoods with the best lights, Christmas lights, and so that was always fun.
Yeah, I used to like driving around in the car trying to find good Christmas lights.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, South Philly, there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of
Oh yeah, there's that
too.
one there's that one just off Broad, that little nook there.
Yes.
It's not far from the Nova.
Little
It's right there. It's
Miracle on
between-
13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on 13th Street, between 13th and Broad Street, right south of Oregon Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
There's something special about it. Hey, do you know about the combat bat? Like, because your boys are baseball kids. Do they want the combat bat?
Well, my oldest is now in college, and the other one kind of switched off. The middle one.
He's
the youngest
golfing now?
is still playing. Yeah, he's going to play. Actually, he's going to play at LaSalle next year, LaSalle University.
Fantastic! That's awesome, man.
Yeah. But the youngest one's still a baseball guy. I don't know what we got him a bat last year for Christmas, which was like, cost an arm and a leg. I can't remember the name now, but so I think that one's good for now because it's a drop 3, the BB, I guess BB core. Yeah. So I guess I'll have that for a few years until he really starts to grow. And then I guess I'll need a bigger one, but I don't know. What does that cost? Like $500 or something? I mean,
well, they normally do. Like normally they're ridiculous. This one is a bargain at $250. All right. But
that is a bargain for a baseball bat nowadays.
It is. Does your kid, the little one, does he watch the Baseball Bros?
He may. I don't know. What is it? Is it a podcast or something?
Well, yeah, these two guys, they're the Baseball Bros, and they try out bats, right? And they just hit moonshots. And they're awesome. So, like, my mom was like, Daddy, Baseball Bros, new bat, the combat, Baseball Bros hit a 550-foot home run. And, like, you'll see them hit all the home runs and stuff. And so
they test out the bats. They tell you which ones are good, which ones are legit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we kind of looked at a few of those. It's probably those guys.
Yeah. It's two guys.
Let me tell you, on eBay, you can get the 2025 combat bat for $1,499, and they only have one left.
Oh my!
Only $37 for shipping.
Oh my God! It's insane.
They're like the Cabbage Patch dolls of baseball world.
They're like this bat. It's got like Moss is like, Daddy, it's got the big barrel, right? And my wife says to him, I had to crack up laughing. I had to repeat the story, but my wife goes, "Well, what about this bat? I found this bat, and the Baseball Bros love it." And he's like, "Mom, that's a contact. That's for a contact hitter. I'm a power hitter." I started cracking up laughing.
Hey, man, chicks dig the long ball, right?
It's the best. So, I started the show talking about the gift of relevancy, right? And in Philadelphia, you know better than anybody about how we consume football and the Eagles. And when they're relevant like this, it just brings the city joy. It brings it up. It uplifts them. And I don't know if I'm in. I look at them and I go, they're so good. I almost am lulled into this. I think they're going to win every week. I mean, when you look at what happened last week, look at it from your eyes. How good is this team right now?
Yeah, I mean, they are winning every week, right? I mean, at least since the bye, 10 in a row, longest streak in Eagles history. So this is something that we've never experienced before. Certainly I, covering the team, you and those who've followed the team for a long time. So, I mean, they're in uncharted territory right now. The team, it's got 2022, 2017, 2004 vibes, clearly. And I think a lot of it really goes to the defense. This is probably the best defense that I've covered. I mean, I kind of hem and haw in saying that 2017 defense was good. I think this is better than the 2022 defense. And I think Vic Fangio is a major reason why.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think I go back really probably 01 was a great defense. Like if you go back to that point. Oh, because 02 they lose Trot. 04 was very good, but they lost Javon Curse. So that kind of hurt them. And they were really good, but offensively they really dictated.
Yeah, they carried them offense. Yeah, 2001, and obviously go back for us old timers to 92. But
right.
But yeah, I mean, this is and it's they have studs. I mean, they have blue chippers. Jalen Carter, predominantly is the guy that you worry about, I think, when you're facing this defense. But and then of course the draft picks that they've expended on that side of the ball are starting to really pay off. The Nolan Smiths, Quinyon Mitchell all year, Cooper DeJean. So it's not, and Nakobe Dean. So it's not like they haven't invested in that side of the ball, but it's not like it's not like they got a bunch of perennial pro bowlers on this defense. Now, maybe eventually some of them will become that, but it's really a young defense. I mean, obviously you're focused on this year, but you can see the core of this group, if they stay together for a while, being pretty good for more than just like, 1 year here or there. It depends upon this, that, or the other thing. But Vic Fangio says he wants to finish his career here as a defensive coordinator. I don't see anyone worrying about, I don't see anyone objecting to that.
Right. I mean, I know we've talked about him a bunch, but still I marvel at what Quinyon Mitchell is doing. I mean, this is every week. He's shutting down a side of the field. It's almost, and I'm looking at the tape. I specifically watched him all week, and I'm going, this dude is on, I mean, I don't want to call him Revis, but I mean, he's along those lines where teams go, I'm not going near that side. His body, I mean, his athletic, he beats you to the spot. Like his instincts he's so polished is the word, I guess.
Yeah, and I honestly, he can get even more polished, but he can flip his hips so well, and he does have that speed and the agility that if his technique isn't great, he can kind of make up for it. There was a play a few weeks ago that I kind of highlighted on Twitter, and people kind of latched onto it. I mean, I wasn't the only one, but even if the technique isn't there. So, I mean, look, there's obviously ways that he can improve, but right now he's playing at such a high level that, you think, geez, the sky is possibly the limit for this guy. And it's been a while since the Eagles have had a lockdown corner. I think Darius Slay certainly playing well and, definitely kind of a little past his prime. But Quinyon is someone that you can build a defensive secondary around. It helps the secondary so much when you don't have to worry about that guy on the one side, particularly when you're in man coverage. It just allows you to do so much more in your coverages when you're not as worried about the one side of the ball. And then when you think about the biggest differences between this defense and last year's defense, you look specifically at the guy, that he replaced, James Bradbury, and how much he struggled last year, and then the upgrade that you have in Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, just a drastic difference.
Yeah, you can circle him. You circle Zach Bond, Nakobe, who's kind of coming into his own. And then Carter, you saw flashes last year. Now you see it consistently.
Yeah. I mean, Carter's the guy that that offensive coordinators are circling on the chalkboard before games. You have to account for him on any given play. You're going to slide protection to him more often than not. And, that comes both what he does as a run defender, and that's what he does in pushing that pocket back in the quarterback's lap as a pass rusher. He is the guy. And he just plays with such a ferocity, and he's violent with his hands. Maybe got a little too violent with his hands, as we saw on Sunday. Yeah, he's really right now playing at such a high level that I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a Pro Bowl nod.
Hey, Jeff, with the defense is rolling the way it is, and Bryce Huff's practice window opened, how do you see him fitting in when he comes back? In what capacity? Do you think does he get on the field as a third down pass rusher?
Yeah. I think they'll probably use him the way they were using him right before the injury, which is like, in those circumstances, because as we saw at the beginning of the season, and it's something that he didn't do a lot of is run defending and run defending in the scheme. He's just not great at setting the edge. And Nolan Smith, that's, I think, that's one of the things he does very well. And certainly Brandon Grant before he got injured. Josh Sweat knows how to do it. Sometimes he does get caught being a little too over aggressive. And Jugs Hunt, quite frankly, I think has shown that he can set the edge when they're in a 5-man front or a 4-man front. So my guess is that Josh, they'll kind of ease him in. You want extra bodies at that spot. I know Vic Fangio, and they've done this now for a while since the injury, basically with the 3-man rotation. And he said he's done it before, and you can do it. And but you'll take as many bodies as you can get. This is someone you spend a lot of money on. But because of the hand and because of the circumstances, you can just say, oh yeah, we're using him as a third down pass rusher. That is where he's best utilized, getting off, both hands in the ground and kind of just pinning his ear back. He's shown that he can do that. It's amazing to think that the guy that Howie Roseman invested the most amount of money in this offseason as a free agent has been probably the biggest disappointment, and it hasn't really hurt the team as much as you thought it would.
Hey, Jeff, offensively, so everybody made a big deal about, the passing game. And so where does that stand? You see it now, kind of where does that stand heading into Washington?
Well, they came out and showed that they can get it done. Jalen Hurts showed that he can get it done. And a lot of credit to Kellen Moore, what they did schematically and in the game plan and the play calling to help them out. You saw a lot of empty sets.
Yep.
That kind of makes it a little easier in the quarterback. You saw a lot of tempo early. I think that also, because you're basically running up to the play with like two or three plays. So that simplifies it a little bit and makes it easier. And when I say simplified, I'm not saying that Jalen needs like a simple offense, but you're trying to simplify it now to get him out of a rut.
Right.
And clearly he was in a rut. So there's nothing wrong with that. Jalen can do it. He's shown before that he can do it with his arm. It was just kind of getting that confidence back. And they did a really good job in getting Jalen to get the ball out quicker. In that first half, I think it was like 2.6 seconds. That's like the fastest I've seen him get the ball out. And I don't know how long. And he was taking what the defense was giving him. And, saw a lot of the shallow crosses, which they were prepared to come out with because of the type of scheme, the defense that the Steelers play. They play a lot of man. They did play a lot of man earlier. Then they switched the zone. Then the Eagles kind of switched things up there and were able to push the ball downfield. And it's just like playing point guard. Get the ball to your guys. I mean, like A.J. Brown, and he just kills guys in man coverage. Just throw the ball to him and he'll make a play. Same with Devontae's so good at seeing a coverage and either settling down in versus zone or running versus man. So it's like you have two great receivers. I think it was more than half of the 290 yards they got passing came on yards after the catch. So use those guys. Trust your receivers, and he did that. And Jalen could do that. Now, look, does that mean he's going to be able to do it every game, or is he going to have? And they're going to need them to do this in the playoffs? No, I mean they want to run the ball, but when you're going to devote an extra guy in the box to stopping the run and stopping Saquon Barkley, you got to be able to throw the ball against those single high looks, and that's what they did.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. Point guard. I've been saying it for a while. That's when he's at his best. When he's distributing the ball quickly. You get it out and take advantage of AJ, those crossers, right? Like he's great at that. Like man coverage, he bullies D-backs. He's so strong. You get so much out of it. I'm with you. So I'm curious about Sunday in this respect. First time you're going to see a team for the second time. How do you kind of see this thing going?
Yeah, it's tough, especially in the division, to beat a solid team two times in the season. You're going on the road. Going down to Washington hasn't been as much of a road game for the Eagles. It seems like typically it's like half the stadium is full of Eagles fans.
Right.
So I don't think that part is particularly daunting to them. But yeah, I think to me the biggest difference between facing the Commanders now versus a month ago is that I think Jaden Daniels is probably getting close to 100% in health. And when they saw that he was just coming off that rib injury, and he was really limited, I felt, in terms of what he could moving around and scrambling. And they did a really good job of containing him and not allowing him to burn them with his legs. So I think that's something that they got to be cognizant of. Look, this is a better team than the Commanders. So they should win, but that's easier said than done.
Yeah.
They're just playing at a high level. If they lose, it's like it's not the end of the world. Look, you want that number one seed. It's still very much out there in play. But I think the odds say that, more than likely they're going to be the number 2 seed. But that being said, look, you obviously got to go down there and win. You want to win the NFC East. You want to get that clinched. Detroit plays Chicago. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're at Chicago.
Yeah. So that, that should be a victory.
They're banged up, man. You lost Montgomery. Like, that's a big
McNeil,
loss for them.
McNeil is a huge loss for them.
Huge loss. Only McNeil.
Yeah. that team is a little bit kind of reeling. I mean, obviously that hurts you long term because both those guys are gone for the season. So look, play for the number 1 seed clearly, but the Commanders, they could trip them up here. They could certainly trip them up here.
Yeah, I feel you. We talked about this, and I guess the last thing we talked about this yesterday, but this team overall, we talked about the defense, but if you look at this team overall, I don't know, it's better than the Super Bowl team. It's better than 04. I mean,
thank you. Better than 2017?
I think so. The receivers are better. The line is comparable.
That team won a Super Bowl.
Right, but they won the Super Bowl with extraordinary circumstances, right?
To some extent.
I mean, you could be lucky and win. Like,
true.
You
mean in terms of talent,
roster and talent, and it's not about accomplished. 2017, obviously the most accomplished team, but they weren't the best team. The 2011 Phillies were the best Phillies team I ever saw. 08 was the accomplished team.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting argument to have when you look at this team. But, but to get back to your point, they've talked a lot about complementary football this year. And, last year the defense was so bad, especially down the stretch when they made the change, that it just couldn't help whenever the offense kind of sputtered. They didn't have the defense to hang their hats on, and they couldn't rely on them. And in this game, for instance, you have 2 turnovers in your own territory, and the Eagles defense holds the Steelers to just 3 points. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
When you think about how the game played out. And, and I just go back to Vic Fangio. I mean, what's the difference? And we talked about players earlier, but you just have a maestro of the scheme. You had the coordinators before that ran a version of the scheme, and Jonathan Gannon and Sean Desai. One was better than the other. I think Gannon did a solid job, not a great job. And you're seeing, though, Fangio just take it to another level because he just understands it better. Obviously, it's his scheme for the most part. He understands it better than these guys. And I think one of the things, and I talked about this on my podcast a couple weeks, and I've talked to Vic about this, and he's not a braggadocious guy, but I asked him about, being a good play caller. And he's like, I'm not smart, but one thing I can do is I can think quickly on my feet. And I think that's what you see when you watch the Eagles defense is just, the adjustments that he can make in game or just even on the fly on a play. He's radioing it down to Bobby King, the linebackers coach, and he relays it into Nakobe Dean. I don't know how that works, but it's they just are in a rhythm, and they could see it, and he sees it upstairs, and they just get a lot of times they get the Eagles in the right defense for whatever they're facing versus whatever offense, what they may be, what the trends that they're showing. And I think that's played a huge part, and that's why this defense is so good, and that's why this team, when you look at it, and you mentioned 2017, they have the ability to get back there. We'll see. There's still a lot of football to play. We'll see how it plays out in the postseason. They're moving in the right direction in terms of the offense because Jalen is getting more confidence as a passer. But that was just one game. I got to see more of that. That's probably my chief concern. And I've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
It's probably my chief concern once they get into the postseason and they're facing better teams.
I'm with you. Hey, during your travels tomorrow, if you're around, we'll be at Reading Terminal Market all day. So we'd love to host you and feed you. So
okay. What time are you guys there?
We're going to be there from when's Johnny there? John's there at 8. We're going to be there from 8. I'll be doing the show 10 to 12:15, something like that. So 10:30 to 12:45. But we're going to be there, and then we can get a Guinness after at any point. All right.
I'll try and swing by. Obviously got to be down to the Eagles.
I know, whatever. Whatever. If you want to have a cool Christmas cheer, I will be there.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
All right, thanks. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot.
Jeff McLane. We love him. Inquire. What time is I got it written down. I think it's 10:15 to 12:30.
I have to double check, but I think you're right.
We're changing the time tomorrow's show because of the Reading Terminal. John Marks will be there before us. We're 10:15 to 12:30, and then we got a whole slew of stuff. So we're going to be at Reading Terminal all day tomorrow. We'd love to see you.
Okay. Yeah,
all right.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, we're always looking forward to it. Try to wrangle Baldy. I don't know. He'll be traveling somewhere, but We always love when Baldy's hanging with us.
I think he's in Florida.
He's in Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know he's got his Florida thing going.
Yeah.
All right. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for the store nearest you. Little scripts, last minute stuff for the house. Rite Aid. That's the place to be. Tell us a little bit about C-Jam.
C-Jam Construction. This is what they do. They do really nice work around the house, specializing in decks, bathrooms, and flooring. And more importantly, they alleviate the challenges, stress, frustrations, and all that come with home remodeling. If you're like me, it's one of the more stressful times of the world, of the life, of my year. I have a roof right now, so if you find people that can come out to your home and do some good quality work, man, is that good to know. And the C-Jam Construction guys, they are there. Like I said, they specialize in decks, flooring, and bathrooms. And right now, they're doing a giveaway benefiting CHOP. You have till the 20th, tomorrow, to enter their online raffle for a chance to win a Yeti cooler and a cool Kelly Green Saquon Barkley jersey. All proceeds from the raffle go towards CHOP online toy drive, and raffle tickets, they're $10. There's no limit. So if you're feeling generous, you can buy a ton. The winner will be announced on December 21st. People can enter by going to cjamconstruction.com/toy drive. And if you're doing some work, like I said, with decks, bathrooms, or flooring, be sure to give them a call and mention PHLY. You'll receive 15% off. Their number's 856-329-2933. Reach out to them for your next home project, and you can see a full selection of their products and learn more about them and their warranties on their website, cjamconstruction.com.
C-Jam. Hey, let's talk about Parks Casino. Give the gift of entertainment this holiday season at Parks Casino. The best comedy shows, musical acts, the restaurants like the Parks Grill Steakhouse, Bamboo Noodle House. It's all real. The beer garden. You got all those gift cards that you can get for your people who love a little fun. And that's where Parks Casino comes into play. Here is your lineup that's coming on at Parks. You ready? Larry the Cable Guy, May 16th.
Get her done.
Second show for comedian Ryan White, March 20th.
You can't fix stupid.
Colin Jost from that Saturday Night Live returns 2 nights, Parks Casino, March 14th and 15th.
Hey, come see me. I got better hair than my brother on Impractical Jokers.
Country artist Cole Swindell, February 7th.
Heads Carolina, tails California.
Jan 18th, the reggae sounds of Shaggy.
Girl, you're my angel. You're my darling angel.
January 24th, Richard Kind from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Whoa, Larry, whoa. Come on, Larry, whoa. Hey.
February 8th, Zach Wheeler's favorite, Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains.
If I would, could you?
March 8th, magician Michael Carbonaro.
Hey, I got your shoes right here.
And country star Lee Brice on March 22nd.
There's a rumor going round about me and you.
ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And just to confirm, tomorrow we are on at 10:15 until 12:30. So if anyone's looking for us, make sure that you come down to the Terminal Market and hang out with us. But if you can't, 10:15 to 12:30, that's when we'll be live.
Yep. Usually, every day we're 9 to 11. Tomorrow we're going to switch it up a little bit so we can spend the teeth of the show at Reading Terminal Market, which we love. So we'll go through all the holiday treats.
Nice. Can't wait.
Cannot wait. Speaking of the treat, I would love to get him there because he's like Santa.
That would make the day.
That would make the day.
Baldy showed up.
Santa Baldy shows up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
My God. That would be a blast.
All I want to do is have a tequila with Baldy. That's all. That's all I want for Christmas.
It's not just
maybe
one.
Maybe we could do it. We got to wrangle him in. He's so busy this time of the year, but wrangle him into a little Christmas cheer.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get him, the one, the only Baldy.
Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy. Oh, he likes meats and football. Oh, Baldy.
There he is. Where you at?
Happy holidays, cuz.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you. Where you at, brother?
Look at that tree. Look at that tree, man.
Beautiful.
That tree that's a 9-foot tree right there, man. Like I'm in Florida right here. I'm on the beach. Like it's a dive day. I see all kinds of dive boats out there this morning. When I wrap this up and finish a couple other things, man, I'm going down today, man, I don't know. I might go out there, paddle out to the second buoy line and, head down, see some big things swimming around down there. It's going to be awesome today.
What does the second buoy line indicate? What is the second buoy line?
That's just so we have reefs that you can swim right out to. So the first buoy line, you can backstroke out there. Second buoy line is almost a mile out. So you can still swim it. It's not a problem. But there's a lot of boats out there, like you'd rather not.
Wait.
So, but if you paddle out on your paddle
Swimming
board.
a mile is not a problem?
No, it's not a problem, man. It's like, it's a 15-minute swim. But, like if you paddle out, you get out there in 10 minutes. And then you could just put your little dive flag up there and you could just bob up and down. It's about 35, 40 feet of water. But you could go down there and swim around and, see the bigger fish out there.
Dude, is there a celebrity survivor? Baldy needs to be on Celebrity Survivor. He would just dominate this competition. He'd eat trees. He'd just eat anything.
I don't want to eat bugs. I don't want to eat bugs. Like I like clean water. I like, meat and eggs. Like, I don't know, Survivor. Like, I'm not sure about that.
You go a mile out into 40 foot of water in the ocean. You really are one of a kind, brother. You know that.
No, because it's not really. Like, it's an addiction. Like, the water's been pretty rough the last couple of days. I woke up this morning, it's glass, straight glass. I'm like, this is a dive day. I already knew it at 6:30 this morning. I'm going today. Like, I already got my batteries for my GoPro getting all warmed up right now. I'm going to be out there for a couple hours.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome. What's your schedule? When so you're gonna be down there for a while?
I'm heading to Washington for the game Sunday, but I might go a little early to go see that Ravens-Steeler game. Just get there on the sidelines on Saturday, so I might be able to. It's like getting a 2-for-1. It's like a good Macy's holiday sale. Like maybe I could get Ravens-Steelers Saturday, Eagles-Commanders Sunday.
That's awesome. That'll be fantastic. Are you back here Monday, or what are you doing for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm driving home. I'm driving home after the game Sunday, going straight to NFL Films, break down as many games as I can Sunday night, work Monday, then fly back here for the holidays. I got a Christmas Eve party at the crib here in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, fantastic! That's gonna be incredible.
So I heard you say I'd love to have a tequila with me. Like, there's no such thing as a tequila. Never. Like, there's no point to a tequila. Like, tequila is just a starter. But, there's a lot of toast. Like, the more tequila you drink, the chattier you get, the more the spirit you're into. We're talking 5 or 6 minimum. Or any kind of a deep
I'm
night.
in.
Yeah.
Are you? Listen, I don't know. I don't want to invite myself over Monday night, but if you got a window for a little Christmas, I got to toast you. Before Christmas, before you get out of here.
Let's see if we can work that out, cuz.
All
Let's
right.
see if we can make that schedule work.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Where do you see Baldy's estate? Oh, my
I would
God.
love to.
It's the coolest place. He's got a greenhouse. He's got
the grotto.
It's awesome. I mean, really, forget the Playboy Mansion, the Baldy Mansion.
I'll Uber over so I can have 5 tequilas.
You never know what comes out of there.
Yeah.
Too. Like who's
don't
laying
drive
by the pool? I mean, a couple times I went over and I'm like, looking, who's sunbathing? I'm like, well, all right, Baldy.
It's a very private backyard. Nobody interferes. The neighbors know when the cars start pulling in the driveway, they just stay away. It's a good setup.
It really is. All right, let's get to business. And we'll start Eagles and then we'll work our way through the league. So what are you seeing right now from this team? You saw what you got the answers in the passing game last week. Now they go to Washington. You'll be covering that game. You'll be calling that game. First time they're going to see somebody twice. Kind of how do you see this one?
Well, the game they played 5 weeks ago. It was a 12-10 game with 8.5 minutes to go in the game. And Washington's got 4th and 2. And they're in field goal range, and Dan Quinn goes for it. And, Jaden bobbles the snap from the center, doesn't get clean. Zach Bond, just crushes them, and they don't get the first down. The Eagles just went on a tear in the last 8 minutes of that game. I mean, it's 12-10. Like, if they kick the field goal right there, it's 13-12. And so, Eagles got off to their typical slow start. It's like 10-6 halftime. They kicked it into gear. Now, the interesting thing in that game was Terry McLaurin caught one pass for 10 yards. Like, that guy's got 11 touchdown catches. He's been a thorn in the Eagles' side. Like, they're going to take their shots to McLaurin. Now, that could be Quinyon Mitchell out there. I'd love to see the guy get some action. He gets literally no action every week. But we know he's a good player. So I kind of want to see the Eagles defend a really good receiver that they're going to see in the postseason in McLaurin. He's having his best year ever. They got a quarterback that can get him the ball. I like to see that matchup. I like to see, if this defensive front, which has been awesome. You talk to, Jeff McLane right there, some of the adjustments that, Vic has made during the year. When they feel like they're playing a team that can run the ball, they go to a 6-1 defense. Mm-hmm. Zach Bond plays on the, they take him and put him on the outside linebacker spot. They reduce the front, and they're like, okay, we've got every gap covered. Beat us. N'Kobe's the linebacker. And so, that's the adjustment if teams want to run the ball against them. And it's been a very good adjustment. So the Cliff knows that's coming. So what's the adjustment that Cliff Kingsbury and Washington's going to do? Because they want to run the ball also like the Eagles. So the thing that, I know, like at the NFL Network, like they spent 4 freaking hours talking about AJ and Jalen. It's just like enough. What they saw last week, honestly, cuz, was man coverage. So if you want to rank the receivers in this business, and I'm not here to defend AJ and behavior the week before, but if you want to rank the top 5 receivers in the league, I don't care who you're ranking them with. AJ's the top 5 receivers. He's a beast. So he saw Joey Porter. He saw Dante Jackson. He whipped those guys. Like, it wasn't like he's so much better than those guys in man coverage. So Marshawn Lattimore be out there this week. He played for the first time last week for Washington. They didn't get much action, but I can see Marshawn going, okay, Marshawn and AJ, let's match it up and let's see what happens.
How would you defend the Eagles? Because they're interesting because of Barkley. Pittsburgh said, look, we're gonna sell out against the run, and we'll go man on the outside, and you saw what happened. How would you defend? Now, obviously, it depends on personnel and what you got, but what's the way you would defend them?
So that's the question, right? Because that's the right question to ask. But here's the answer is a little convoluted because they really don't know how to start fast, obviously.
Right.
So if you knew the best way to attack the Eagles, then you would have the answer to what our attack is going to be. And it seems like it takes them a quarter, sometimes an entire half to figure it out, which is a problem if you get to the playoffs. Because on Tuesday, I saw, our conversation about don't leave the Bucs out, because in the playoffs and why they can, and I know the Eagles have figured things out since then. But if you get into an 8-possession game in the playoffs and you're spending the first 3 possessions figuring it out, it might be too late, especially if a guy like Baker is playing against you and he's a pure gunslinger. And if he throws a pick to Slay, it's not going to stop him from throwing. The mentality's not going to change. He's not packing it in. He's not going to melt. He's just going to keep it. So that's the issue with the Eagles is because they spend a quarter and a half figuring it out, it might get too late in the postseason if it's 12-10 in the fourth quarter like it was against Washington. That's my concern is let's start Sunday fast and let's know what Dan Quinn and what the defense is going to do, and let's attack them. And we're going to figure it out as we attack them. But we're not going to be 3 and out. We're not going to be 10-6 at halftime. Let's take charge of the game.
It's a great point. The one thing we haven't seen from this team, they haven't been behind they haven't trailed. They're a front runner, man. They get you and then they grind you, whether it's a 4-minute offense or a 10-minute and 29-second offense. Yeah. They haven't been behind. I'm curious about that.
Well, I mean, the defense is, they're the best defense in football. And so teams don't know how to attack them.
Yeah.
Because their linebacker play, if you don't block Zach Bond and N'Kobe Dean, which is hard to do, if you don't block them, they're going to make every tackle. and if you don't have an answer for Jalen Carter, he's going to ruin your offense. And now you're seeing, Nolan Smith really come on, and he's really developed. And it took him half a year before they figured out Bryce Huff is not an outside linebacker. So let's get a guy in that can play that position, and let's develop him. So that's credit to Vic. I don't think he liked Bryce Huff from the jump, but he was sort of like, we just paid him $51 million. Let's figure it out. And, I think Vic won that battle pretty good. Helped that Bryce got hurt. But, the defense has played great. And so they have overcome some questionable decisions by the head coach, whether to go for it on fourth down, points, field goals, whatever. They've overcome all of that, and here they are. And so, if you're playing with the lead against this defense, they're gonna grind it down like they did last week. But I said last week, Pittsburgh's offense, like they're a stick in the mud without George Pickens. They're not exciting. They're going to struggle against Baltimore this week. They got a nice record because they led the league in takeaways. And if they're giving the extra bats to the offense, great field position, they capitalize on that. But if they're playing without Pickens and they're not getting takeaways, they got TJ Watt punching the ball out early in the game, but they overcame all that.
Yeah, there's 2 early turnovers, the Cooper muff, and they can walk away with 3 points. That's the game right there. You get those 2 turnovers, you come away with just a field goal, you lose. We'll get back to the NFC in a second, but I was curious. We're up Saturday. What are you hearing about Mahomes? Like, it feels odd. They have a game on Christmas on Wednesday and a short week this week on Saturday. And I just figured that Andy would keep Mahomes out until Christmas. And I quite frankly, I was curious to see how Wentz would do because Andy's so good with backup quarterbacks. He did it with Coy, AJ, Garcia, So I was actually interested in seeing how Wentz would play. But are you hearing Mahomes is he superhuman?
No, it's just a fire inside Mahomes. We've seen him play in the playoffs on basically half a leg, and got it out. Didn't want to even get an X-ray when he got hurt the first time last year. Didn't like Andy was like, you're not coming on the field unless you get X-ray. And he's like, I just want to go play. So if Andy might lose that battle. But I think Carson will be fine. I think the big thing right now is defensively, they got Charles Omenihu back. He got hurt in the AFC Championship game. He tore his ACL. He was a big night. And so last week, they got Omenihu, Chris Jones, they got Karlaftis and Mike Dannon. And when Spags puts that front out there, they're awesome. Now, if you add in a Trent McDuffie blitz or, a Mike, a Bolton blitz with it, the way Spag, they like Houston's going to have trouble against this defense. And they've had trouble with injuries on offense. Obviously, Nico, Mixon, they've been out, missed time, Diggs. But the biggest problem with that team is their offensive line has committed more penalties than any other team in this league. And if you give them that matchup, they don't match up well. And C.J. Stroud, well, he's still a great player. His numbers don't look anything like they did last year because up front, they're constantly in 3rd and 20, 2nd and 15. They're constantly playing for behind. If you do that to this front, a Spags is going to own you.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if they want to play Wentz, I feel like defensively they can hold up and still win the game, and ultimately, get to the point where they're the number 1 seed, which they would like to do, but not at the expense of a banged up quarterback.
Right. What do you think? What do you think about tonight? Because tonight's a really interesting game. Chargers and Broncos.
Well, I saw the Chargers last week. I did the Tampa Bay Charger game. And look, the Chargers right now, with the injuries to J.K. Dobbins and how they can't run the ball, like they're a 17-point offense.
Yeah.
If you can only score 17 against the Broncos tonight, they're not going to win.
Yeah.
But the other thing was, the Bucs ran the ball down their throat. This Bucky Irving is some kind of a rookie back. And Liam Cohen is probably he's the coordinator there. He's probably going to get a head coaching job with what he's done. They've got 3 rookies making an unbelievable impact. Jalen McMillan, Graham Barton, Bucky Irving. And Baker he's just a good player, man. Like he's just got fire in his belly. Like he loves to compete. Mike Evans might go 11 straight years with 1,000+ yards. He caught 2 last week. They're beautiful throws. I just feel like right now, the Chargers, while they they're still in it. I just don't feel like they have enough firepower to beat Sean Payton and what they're doing defensively right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't run the ball. I mean, Gus Edwards is an elite back, and that kills him. I mean, I don't know about Estime.
It hurt him. And then,
they're going to run Estime.
Defensively, they've got good numbers, but they gave up 3 touchdown passes last week. The Bucs ran the ball for almost 200 yards. The Ravens ran it for 200 yards. This is all in their backyard at home. They've given this up. So there's some cracks and chinks right now, in the armor of Jesse Minter's defense.
Yeah, the only thing I look at is I don't know that Denver's run game is that Javonte hasn't.
It struggles. It's not a strong run game. It isn't. It isn't what Tampa's is. But the good thing about Sean Payton is he doesn't ever get away from it. Yeah. He stays with it. He's trying to protect his quarterback. Jaleel McLaughlin will start. Javonte Williams, like Samaje Perine. He's going to try to find a guy that gets hot if they can. It's a weakness. But Bo Nix played poorly last week for the first time in a long time. He threw 3 terrible interceptions. But defensively, they were so good they were able to overcome them.
Yeah. Speaking of like the injuries, and I mean the Lions are the Lions cooked? I mean, you lose Montgomery, you lose Aleem McNeil, you lost 2 corners. I mean, I feel horrible for them in the sense that we're football fans. You never want to. They were having a great year. I wanted to see Eagles and Lions and see a showdown, but man, I think Montgomery just buries them because he's the tenderizer of against defenses.
He is, but we've never seen Jahmyr Gibbs in a full-time role ever. Maybe, like I've often said, look, I love the 1-2 punch and how they do it. And it's the right formula. You win 11 in a row. You get to a championship game a year ago with that formula. But if you just gave Jahmyr Gibbs 25 carries, maybe he gets you 170. He's just that good. So we'll see. But, it was interesting last week in what Buffalo did to him. It's game planning is so important. Like Quan Alexander, who's been a good player in this league for 10 years, but for 5 different teams, they went after him in the passing game. You can't believe. That's what game planning should be. They got, Ty Johnson one-on-one with Quan Alexander in pass game. Destroy him. They got James Cook one-on-one with Quan. They isolated him in pass coverage. And he just, he can't stay with those guys. And Josh Allen, he understood where the ball was supposed to go. He did it. And they got a big explosive plays out of that. And then Josh Allen is just the MVP. So but Detroit's still a quality team. They still have quality pieces. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs can take the place of Montgomery and be the full-time back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because I think the Bears can stress them this week. It's in Chicago, and I know how bad Caleb played. He was brutal Monday night. But I still think Chicago can stress them, man. No?
I don't know.
You don't feel it?
They started a rookie left tackle. The kid from Yale, Armigage. If you got a rookie left tackle that's never played, he's coming from Yale.
Yeah.
You'd think you'd help him out against a guy like Jonathan Grenard. It just drives me nuts. They're just a poorly coached team.
Yeah.
I don't think they can compete. Caleb is playing frenetic football.
Yeah.
It's awful to see. I watched Bo Nix with a really great coach. I watched Jaden Daniels with a really good system.
Yeah.
You watch quarterbacks develop. Even Drake May, it's not, they haven't won a lot of games, but he's played pretty good. The rookies, you're going to see Michael Penix light it up this week.
That's our guy, Baldy.
Yeah, they've made the switch too late. Kirk Cousins was not helping that team, and I love Kirk. He's playing shotgun because I don't know if he can pull away from center the way he got to under center. So, but Chicago is a mess because of coaching, and they got to get that fixed. They got to get their offensive line fixed. I feel bad for Caleb. You fire your offense coordinator, you fire your head coach.
Yeah.
You don't game plan properly. You don't finish games properly.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, that's a great point. What about Minnesota, Seattle? Seattle have a chance at winning that game?
Well, Green Bay went up there last week and just torched them. And Seattle had won 4 in a row. But they, Matt LaFleur, He's just a great coach.
He's a great coach, Baldy.
He's a great coach, man.
He is.
You change quarterback. They put Malik Willis in off the street. They win 2 games. They lose. Josh Jacobs was the right fit for Aaron Jones. They've got 5 guys up front. None of them are first-round picks. They developed their line. Like, they played great up front. Josh Jacobs had they just do the right things. The right decision to go fire, their defense coordinator last year and bring in a new guy. Like, they just make the right decisions. They're just a great organization. Great organization.
You're spot on. By the way, thanks everybody watching on Roku and Samsung and the Xfinity platform. We continue always as we do on YouTube. Yeah, I'm completely with you, man. I love like that game plan. Like they went, it's Sunday Night Football. It's Seattle, right? It's the 13th man, and the first 2 drives, they just went right down the field. And you look up, it's 14-0.
Yep. Yeah, like, dude, look, so Minnesota's coming in. And, I had a conversation with people in San Francisco this week. And, like, I'm the biggest Brock Purdy supporter there is. And I talked to the owner, Jed York, about next year. And they know that they might have to put a pile of cash that starts at $60 million a year. And you go, okay, Brock Purdy without Brandon Ayuk, without Trent Williams, without Christian McCaffrey, like, suddenly he doesn't look like he could take a team to a Super Bowl. So I said, Sam Darnold has been awesome this year. And, and I've talked to Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, the general manager up there. He's very bright.
Yeah.
And they don't have to make a decision in Minnesota until this thing plays out. They're playing with house money with Sam Darnold. They got him cheap. They built a great team around him. They got the left tackle paid, the wide receiver paid because of that. So next year, Sam Darnold will be in demand. But if he doesn't finish strong and he wilts down the stretch, they go to their number 1 pick, McCarthy.
Yeah,
but
JJ.
If he finishes strong and Minnesota is like, well, let's see what the market says. Well, San Francisco should talk to Sam Darnold and make him an offer if it's available. If Minnesota doesn't give him a big deal. And you want to pay Brock Purdy $60 million or get Sam Darnold at a cheaper price where you could keep Fred Warner, you could keep Nick Bosa, you could keep some of these stars of theirs. It's a conversation, and that's all it was. I wasn't trying to badmouth Brock Purdy, but Sam has been that good with a great defensive coordinator, with a great head coach, and a great system, and a great organization, which they are. And so that's what's on display this week in Seattle, Minnesota.
But that's fascinating because if they did say goodbye to Purdy, where does he go? Is it, whoever loses out on the draft picks and is still searching for a quarterback? You got to think the Giants and Raiders are going to get their quarterbacks, but then he'll go, somebody's going to be looking for something.
Well, I mean, you could look at Cam Ward, and you can look at Shedeur, and you can look at these guys that everybody's talking about. And is Brock Purdy better than either one of those guys? He's got a great resume. Things have gone backwards this year, but no quarterback, you take Jordan Addison and you take, Justin Jefferson in that lineup, just the way you take Devontae and AJ out with Jalen, like, they don't look like world beaters. They don't look like that. Now, maybe Josh Allen is just a force of nature and he can still win games without elite players like he's done. But, it helps that for 14 straight weeks in a row, Josh Allen is lined up behind the same 5 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Like, that's a luxury.
Yeah.
Then so you start looking deeper and deeper in the success of the quarterbacks, and I can point to you a lot of support that goes into that success.
That's fascinating. How do you rank the NFC right now?
Well, you have to put the Eagles first because it's, you had the conversation with Jeff before me. Like, it's, they've got a lot of things going, including the coaching, and their health, overall health has been outstanding. You lose Landon Dickerson in the game. Tyler Steen comes in, you don't know his difference. You lose Jordan Mailata for a month and Fred Johnson plays, and they don't skip a beat. I could point to teams in this league where if you get to their 6th and 7th offensive lineman, the thing collapsed. But they got to be the front runners right now. They might get a home playoff game. We'll see how Minnesota plays it out. We'll see how the Eagles will have. I think this is a good matchup this week. It'll be a good test. Division rivalry. They see each other on film every week. But I look at the Eagles. I look at Minnesota is real. Green Bay is real. Detroit can be real. We'll see how they play without some of these guys. And Tampa, like it to me, and the Rams are getting stronger at the right time. So you look at teams, you look at the quarterback play, and all those teams I just mentioned, that's a challenge. You look at the way that all those teams take the ball away, that's a challenge. Like the Eagles, even if they get to number 1 seed, I'm only concerned with the Eagles about slow starts in a compressed game where you might only get 8 possessions.
That's a great point. Great point.
Hey, buddy, a piece came out this morning about Jets ownership and Woody Johnson. Some of the things in here seem crazy. They were in discussions for Jerry Jeudy, and Woody Johnson didn't like his Madden rating, so they're saying he allegedly vetoed that trade. And then there was one where they traded Zach Wilson, and the Denver Broncos wanted the last pick in the draft, 257th. And Woody Johnson instructed them to give up the 256, which they also had, because he wanted the Mr. Irrelevant pick. So even an owner trying to give away a better pick than was asked for. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Well, the one constant, I like Woody Johnson personally, but the one constant in all this turnover is Woody Johnson over the last 24 years, whether it's coaches, general managers, quarterbacks, questionable draft picks. Like, there's a lot of good people have come and gone from that organization. He's still there, and it's still highly, highly dysfunctional. And so that's where all this is going right now, as these general managers start getting sort of interviewed, and new coaches will be interviewed, but presumably by the new general manager. Phil Savage is running the team right now. Like, there's one constant right there, in all this turnover, and it's been Woody.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wild.
The story's crazy.
So what are you going to be looking for today when you go diving?
I want something big. I want to see something big. Whether it's turtles, or whether it's nurse sharks or lemon sharks, or or lionfish. Like, I want to see something big down there today.
Turtles. You ever see the giant
like some tarpon? If tarpon are running,
right,
like, they're huge. They look massive in the water. They can be 200 pounds, but they run in schools. So, like, I'd love to see a school of tarpon today.
Wow. You ever get close to them? Like, you?
Oh yeah.
Them? Yeah.
No, well, I'm not gonna let you touch them, but there could be barracuda. Barracudas tend to stay very stationary. They don't move very much.
No, they're nasty, right? The barracudas,
they tend to stay in schools.
Right.
Do you have a knife with you or anything in case someone gets aggressive?
I do have a knife. I usually don't wear it, but I do have a knife if I want to put it on. I have a
knife in his
I have this right here. I have this shark repellent watch. I don't know if it really works or not, but the electromagnetic waves are supposed to keep the sharks away. I don't usually dive with it, but now that I'm talking about it, maybe I'll put that on my wrist today.
I like it. Nice. Yeah, do it, brother. Yeah. Listen, be safe out there, and then we'll see you Monday night for some Christmas cheer. Enjoy your weekend,
You got it, cuz. It's that season, man. I'm in the spirit all the way.
I love it. I love that tree. Looks great.
That tree is awesome.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It's my pride and joy right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful. God bless.
Thank you.
You're the best, buddy. Be careful.
See
you, brother. There he is. Baldy. Time out for the Rite Aid back in the day moment.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
All right, we're going to go back 20 years.
20 years?
December 19th.
Okay.
2004, the Eagles go 13-1, clinch home field advance throughout the playoffs, but it comes at a cost.
Oh, this was it.
And the pass is caught. What a play made for a touchdown by Chad Lewis. Chad Lewis, and a flag is down. Just timed his leap against and this one for substantial yardage. 20 yards and a first down into Dallas territory. Look down to that. Here's the handoff, and it's a touchdown. Dorsey Levin. His second year season.
Wow.
Well, so much room.
The fog, rain, and the Dallas Cowboys, they would earn their 13th victory, a franchise record. A first-quarter touchdown pass to Chad Lewis opened the scoring.
Nice throw.
But then the Cowboys took the lead, then took out Philadelphia's best receiver.
Back goes McNabb. He fires, and it is complete to Owens at the 50. Owens pulled down at the Cowboys' 47. His second reception of the game.
I forgot
It would also be his last reception of the regular season. Owens was down, maybe for good.
It looks like his left leg gets caught up underneath him, and that's all Philadelphia needs, right?
He is limping badly as he comes to the bench. This is serious, and this is what you fear most, injuries to key players. And Terrell Owens is one of the 3 players this team can least afford to lose.
With Owens gone, it was up to the defense to take control. The Cowboys did not.
Oh, my God.
Cowboys didn't score another point after that. Defense held up. Eagles win.
Who was it?
12-7.
Williams? It was Roy Williams on the tackle, on the horse collar.
Oh, you might be right. That's a good. I would have no clue.
It was Roy Williams, yeah. Oh, my God. I'd never forget that. That's why, that was one of the reasons why they made that a penalty.
Yep.
Because it's so bad.
I totally forgot until I saw that clip that it was a horse collar that got him.
Yeah. Oh, God. Horrible. All right. Listen, everybody, thanks for hanging as always. Fraze did a great job. Little Joey did a great job. Tomorrow, Reading Terminal Market.
Yeah. Like it. It's going to be good.
So Johnny's there. You have the lineup by any chance?
Yeah, I can pull it up here.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Because I know John Marks will be there, so Johnny will be there early.
Yep. So this is the lineup. John Marks, he's going to be going from 9 until 10 o'clock. We will be live from 10:15 to 12:30. Directly after us, it's going to be the PHLY Sixers show. They're going to be going from 12:45 until 1:45. Then it's the Eagles and then Flyers.
Look at that full day of 4 for 4 from Reading Terminal Market tomorrow. Listen, we'll be hanging out all day. So, we'll be at Molly Malloy's.
Love the market.
After the show and hanging. Some Guinness will be flowing. So come and hang with us tomorrow at the Reading Terminal Market for a little Christmas fun. Everybody have a great day. We love you guys. All right, be careful. And we'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.